In business news, the Group Managing Director of United Bank for Africa, Mr. Oliver Alawuba, says the banking and financial sector of the Nigerian economy, if properly managed, can help jumpstart the economy for growth and development. This is as he also believes that promoting intra-African trade under the African Continental Free Trade Area will help move Africa forward, particularly as it concerns SMEs and women's empowerment. We have more in this report.
The Nigerian economy has witnessed a series of challenges ranging from slow economic growth, record debt, shrinking oil output coupled with oil theft. This has grossly affected projections and bottom lines of both governments and private sector players. According to the report from the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Nigerian banking system has remained sound and resilient. The report further states that the industry's non-performing loans decreased from 4.9% in December 2021 to 4.2% in December 2022, a figure below the maximum prudential requirement of 5.0%. Group Managing Director of the United Bank for Africa, Mr. Oliver Alawuba, after his investiture as a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, says the banking sector can play an important role at this time to realign Nigeria's economic prospect.
The banking industry in Nigeria has played a pivotal role in the development of the economy of this country. And I think at a time like this, when the economy is still being challenged, the banking industry can work with other stakeholders to ensure that this economy is revived for the benefit of all Nigerians. I believe that the banking industry has the expertise, commitment, and the wherewithal to ensure that this economy is reset for greater development of this country.
Mr. Alawuba also bared his mind on some burning economic issues, including the foreign exchange crisis, intra-African trade, and the role of public-private partnership across all sectors of the economy to help achieve economic growth and development.
At the Afrexim AGM conference in Accra, 2 Nigerian banks have signed agreement at that event for development of intra-Africa trade in Africa. And I know another Nigerian bank also signed such an agreement. So Nigerian banks are in the forefront of the initiatives for intra-Africa trade in Africa Continental Free Trade Area, because we have the strength, we have the breadth. Now, UBA, for example, is a Nigerian bank with presence in 20 African countries. And that alone will facilitate intra-Africa trade among those countries where we are present.
Mr. Alawuba was conferred the fellowship from the CIBN for his contribution to the growth of the institute, particularly development of UBA, which he currently serves as GMD, after seeing the growth of UBA in Africa as CEO for UBA Africa.
Former Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of EcoBank Nigeria, Mr. Patrick Akinwuton, wants government and other relevant agencies to embark on strategic plans to make entrepreneurship an engine of employment generation. He made this call during the annual lecture series and the anniversary of the Catholic Brothers United of St. Agnes Parish of Maryland, Lagos, with theme, a tool for mitigating unemployment. Mr. Akinwuton said that one of the ways to boost employment was to encourage the entrepreneurial spirit of the citizens. He added that for a country to grow and develop, employment plays a key role, and also government and other relevant agencies should embark on strategic plans to make entrepreneurship an engine of employment generation.
And the first thing we've identified is parents should pay attention. You could have your child reading biology in the Faculty of Science, but your child could also have very good skills in fashion design. There's nothing wrong in encouraging that child to develop that skill that will ensure that when that child graduates with a first degree, the child has vocational skills, other skills, to be able to employ himself or herself. And the whole idea is to start small and begin to grow. It's not everyone who will come out of school and start driving a Lexus immediately. So that establishing core values. Secondly, looking at the operating environment, the role of government. Concerns have identified that corruption is a big problem in our country. The value system is very deficient. And it starts with the leaders.
Sensitizing our immediate environment and beyond towards entrepreneurship. The title of the lecture is Entrepreneurship Drive, a tool for mitigating unemployment for national growth.
The dispute over a 350% increase in storage charges by terminal operators has taken a new turn. Freight forwarders took their grievances to the Nigerian Shippers Council, where resolutions were adopted to push negotiations for a review of the astronomical storage charge. Ifunaya Eze reports.
There is no doubt that the protest by members of the National Association of Government-Approved Freight Forwarders to the Nigerian Shippers Council's headquarters got his attention. To calm the aggrieved freight forwarders, the council's management invited them to a closed-door meeting. After the meeting, the executive secretary of the council, Mr. Emmanuel Jime, announced that immediate steps will be taken to review and re-engage with the process.
This industry is really a very strategic, very sensitive industry. I've made my plea, and I'm glad that the leadership of the freight forwarders also sees the point. Any disruption in this industry has monumental impact as far as the economy of the nation is concerned. So we have all a responsibility to make sure that as much as possible we bring harmony in the industry. We're also scheduled a meeting with the terminal operators. Tomorrow we meet again. The idea is to continue to have a conversation around this issue so that in the end, whatever the final decision will be, the stakeholders in the industry will be comfortable with it. We can't take an industry decision that will be hurtful to one section of the industry as against the other section. That doesn't work.
Despite not opposing increase per se, the freight forwarding group leadership admits that it is the magnitude of the increase that has alarmed them.
We're not against the increment, but what we're against is the percentage in which the increment was done. So when they say something reasonable, of course we are human beings, we're all in Nigeria, we'll agree to it. But where they are now is unacceptable.
We shut down the port. That is our last option. Shut down the port.
In a subsequent address, they urged their members to maintain decorum, assuring them that the Nigerian Shippers Council is set to implement practical measures to alleviate the current burden of costs.
One thing we push for tomorrow at the meeting is the outright suspension pending when we agree.
There has been a great deal of agitation among port traders over the 350% increase in storage charges imposed by terminal operators. Ifunanya Eze, TVC News, Lagos.
And finally, in business news at this hour, the stock market is starting the trading week in red following investors' reluctance to take big risk on equities of quoted companies. If Jacob has more, we'll be back with sports news.